Hey folks, how's it going? Chris here from ModXtra Games and Collectibles, back today with another stream review. Not done one of these for a little while. Regular viewers of the channel will know that I am a massive fan of the G.I. Joe Classified series line from Hasbro. They've just recently done a stream announcing all sorts of exciting stuff and with loads of information packed into it. I'm giddy as a school child about it, so I'm sitting down and making a vid. So stick around and I'll be back to share some thoughts on all the digital renders, all the in-hand reviews, and all that good streamy G.I. Joe Classified goodness. So let's get into it. Yo, Joe! Okay then, lots of ground to cover, so let's get straight into it. And they kicked the stream off with a handful of name-only reveals. These were Big Boa, Quick Kick, and Junkyard and Mutt. Three fan favourites, popular characters. I'm sure they went down a storm. Big Boa is an interesting one. I'm not the largest fan of Big Boa, but I'm curious to see what the design team over at G.I. Joe Classified series come up with, because that could be an interesting modern reinterpretation of the character. I'm curious for sure. Incidentally, quick little known fact for the viewers, here in the UK, Quick Kick is a very popular character because in the old Marvel continuity Action Force comics that they used to produce over here, Quick Kick was the focus character of a number of storylines and turned up as an ensemble cast member in many other storylines. So I know a few folks in my circles around these parts very pleased to see that one in the name-only reveals. Now, name-only reveals is a bit of a funny thing. It's an odd phenomenon. I tend to find when they put the names out like that, they're not very real to me. I don't really engage with name-only reveals. I mean, the name-only list is massive. There's even been a few times on this channel I've named a character that said, oh, I really wish they'd make a such and such. And then I've realised or gone back and looked, or someone's let me know that, yeah, that's on the name-only list. It's on its way. But what it does demonstrate is a commitment to the line. I like to interpret it as a demonstration of a commitment to the line. That name-only list is growing. There's loads of characters that they've announced that they have an intention of releasing, and I think that's just a nice touch to kick the stream off, to just put it out there. You know, all this, you know, with the doomsayers are about going, oh, is this a deadline? This is a deadline. No, it's going nowhere. No. Well, they seem to have positive intentions about the line. We can't predict what will happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going on in the weird machinations of the Hasbro machine, but that's an awful lot of characters on the name-only list, and they added a few more. And that's cool with me. The excitement, though, continued apace as they then moved into the digital render reveals. Now, digital renders is another odd phenomenon for me. It's a relatively new thing. I say relatively new, a year or two old, but this idea of here's a picture of a thing that you might be able to have in a year or two's time, or at least that's how it used to feel. I think the turnaround from digital render to in-hand figure has improved somewhat. But yeah, it's an odd phenomenon. However, with G.I. Joe Classified, what I have observed is that the digital renders are a pretty strong indicator of how the in-hand three-dimensional plastic figure is going to look and feel like. At least that's my impression. You know, the digital renders that we've had of characters that we now own, I think, yeah, that's, you know, the digital render was a very strong, accurate indication as to what this final product was going to look like, despite the, you know, the disclaimer that says it's a digital render, final product may vary and such like. Falcon. This was definitely excitement generating, and I was getting giddier and giddier as I was watching the stream and they were showing off these characters. So I'm pretty sure I noted these down in order. First up was Tunnel Rat. Good looking figure, definitely one that community members have been calling out for popular, you know, certain individuals' faves for sure. I know him mostly from G.I. Joe the movie. I've mentioned many times that the cartoon was not really where my G.I. Joe world existed. It was in the Action Force Marvel UK comics. However, as a figure, this guy is looking good, looking very good. He's certainly got all the key visual characteristics that we associate with the character of Tunnel Rat. He's got the bandana on, he's got the massive backpack, the torches for, you know, tunnel ratting. What's the military term for the guys who go down in the tunnels? I always think about those G.I. Joe movies. What was that G.I. Joe movie with the guy who went in with a pistol and a torch, used to go down in the Viet Cong tunnels, like flushing them out? Was it Platoon? Did that happen in Platoon? Anyway, I'm in the weeds. Someone let me know in the comments down below. Getting back on track, so yeah, he's got all the key visual features. He's got the face paint on and the military paint all up on his arms and everything. The uniform that he's wearing, the shirt and pants, look like the uniform that you remember the character, but with a bit of a modern reinterpretation, a bit of a modern twist, more contemporary, like they tend to do with G.I. Joe Classified series. Loads of gear. I've mentioned the backpack and the torches, but he's got some night vision goggly things. He's got a revolver. I love the revolver, by the way. That's got some nice Dirty Harry vibes, and I think that's the first time we've seen that in G.I. Joe Classified. Got his dagger, got his big M60 style machine gun. Really good looking figure. Definitely one that I plan on pre-ordering. I'm liking what I'm seeing on that one. Head sculpt looks solid as well, which is something that we're all going to be looking at pretty closely at the minute. Falcon again. So yeah, tunnel wrap first out the gate. I was like, yes, I am in. Keep it coming. So next up was Firefly, and I am very excited about this one. Very excited indeed. I didn't like the first Firefly, didn't pick it up. Looked too bulky and was just a little push too far in the modern reinterpretation. Let's make him look like, you know, Jeremy Renner in the Hurt Locker kind of thing. Didn't appeal, didn't bother picking one up. I always kind of hoped that maybe we'd see a more kind of, a more stripped back version that was more in line with the Firefly character that I used to read in the old Action Force comics. And this one, again, from the digital render, does not let me down. The uniform, the grey, I like that. A little splash of colour, a bit of something to add some more variety to the Cobra side of the shelf and the colour palette that we've got going on over there. It looks like a decent camouflage pattern, you know, well painted and all that. We'll see obviously when it's in hand. Loads of gear with him. He's got his little explodey remote control car thing, big backpack, night vision goggles, little submachine gun, pistol, all on board. I think, if I remember, I've not got the pictures up in front of me, but it will be on screen by the time you see it. There was a little detonator switch in the picky. I can't read my own handwriting, but I'm pretty sure I wrote detonator switch there. So that's all really exciting stuff. I was very like, yes, yes, yes. And the head sculpt, loving the head sculpt, even though he's got the balaclava on, and just in that limited space of the face where you can see the eyes, just like with Storm Shadow, in fact, communicating so much. There's a lot of story, a lot of narrative. You can really see that kind of serious, stoic, you know, explosive specialist thing going on. So second one out the gate, I was like, oh man, Jesus, I like this one too. And at which point I posted on the Discord group I'm in, does anybody want to buy a kidney? And then the third digital reveal came along, Lowlight, and that was totally like, yeah, definitely gonna have to start selling some organs. I've not even seen the in-hand figures yet, and I'm getting excited. I'm already buying stuff with money I don't have yet. But Lowlight, yeah, absolutely. Look at this guy. Awesome. Lots of stuff that got me excited about this one. Lenny was saying on the stream that the goggles were removable. In the digital render, we can't see that. He's just got the goggles over his eyes, but I'm going to assume that the face sculpt standard is up to the usual standard of G.I. Joe Classified and not some of the more shakier examples that we've seen lately. He looks exactly like Lowlight, got his beanie hat on, got the grey, uniform and everything. That's all lovely. He's got the big sniper rifle, although I must admit the sniper rifle's a little bit of a disappointment. I would have preferred perhaps something a more kind of traditional looking sniper rifle, more in line with the one that Lowlight used to carry in the comic books with the, you know, the massive scope, as my man Eric said when he was on the channel with me recently, with a scope as big as his head. But, you know, that is what it is. Also appreciating the little submachine gun that he's got on the digital render there as an accessory. I was complaining about Bazooka, having the Bazooka and then no small arms. So Lowlight's ready for long distance and close encounters, which is great. And he's got a little knife. But the thing that really caught my eye was the sniper rifle carry case. And what Lenny said when he had the digital render up is that the sniper rifle breaks down into pieces to fit into the case. Oh, lovely. When you think about the kind of narrative play potential of that for some photos, some displays, for some dioramas, or even man-child playtime, then yeah, absolutely. That I was like, yes, awesome. A case to put the sniper rifle in. Oh, love it. That was a beautiful touch. Well done, G.I. Joe Classified series team. So Lowlight, yeah, I know a lot of people will be excited about that one. This guy is looking good. Finally, on the digital render reveals, the fourth one on the list is this guy here, Shadow Tracker. Now, this is probably the lower point for me. Shadow Tracker is just not a character I know. It's not my generation of G.I. Joe. Never encountered the character before. so I've got no context, no background. I'm not aware of any storylines. I haven't read any, comics that feature the character. I've not seen him in any of the cartoons. I don't even know where he's come from. And the look and feel of the character is just not quite. So I'm sort of intrigued by this idea of introducing a more sort of mystical character with sort of swampy voodoo vibes. That kind of appeals in a way. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about Shadow Tracker. I think it's possibly because I just don't know anything about the character. I've got no, historical, contextual narrative of enjoying the character that makes me go, oh, yeah, baby, I can get on board with that. It looks like a really intriguing sculpt, though. I mean, look at that skull mask thing. That looks great, doesn't it? And the big compound bow looks like an exciting piece of accessory, and he's definitely got a bit more flavour, more idiosyncratic. He might fit in well with the growing sort of Dreadnought roster. Yeah, I've not made my mind up on that one. I don't know whether that will be a pre-order or not. I mean, who am I kidding? I'll probably end up buying it because I am sort of intrigued by it. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of folks out there who are like me, who weren't following G.I. Joe at that sort of later stage when Shadow Tracker was a meaningful character. So, I mean, the work that they've done on the figure looks great. He looks well sculpted, interesting colour schemes. That skull mask, that's the thing that's going to end up swinging me around. Because, do you know what, you might look all right in amongst some of the Valaverse. They've all got some more idiosyncratic kind of headwear going on, haven't they? Yeah, I don't know. But we can't even get all the Valaverse over in the UK at the moment. That's a whole other video, different story. So yeah, Shadow Tracker, interested to know. Let me know in the comments where you sit with that. Is it a character you're familiar with? Is it one that caught your eye? I'm finding this one more of a curiosity. Then it was on to the in-hand reveal stuff, and this was, amazing. It was like all your hopes and dreams coming to life at once, or nearly. There was one small disappointment, which I'll mention at the end. And they kicked this off by showing us Copperhead. We've seen the digital render. Many people were excited by the digital render, including myself, but this looked amazing. Absolutely outstanding. The thing that leapt out at me, there was one of the pictures that they showed, the kind of posed promo pictures with the actual figure. The crazy eyes, man. Look at the eye sculpt in that little space in the helmet there. Oh, that's good work. I was loving that. Just everything about this. And then when they were spinning him around on the turntable, Copperhead, I was like, yeah, okay. Is that pre-order today, is it? Yep, sure. Tick. I'm on it. You know what I mean? I was just very, very excited to see the in-hand example of this guy and everything we hoped for from the digital render that we saw appears to come true, come to life. We're going to have a figure that is indeed what we had hoped for. So yeah, a little lighter on the accessories compared to others. So he's got the two pistols, like the Lugery type thing, and the sighted revolver. There's like a long holster for his back to put his sighted revolver into, and then his big machete, all storable on the figure by the looks of it, but a little lighter than some other figures. But do you know what? When he looks that good, and he's one sexy bastard as well, isn't he, with his vest and his muscles and what have you. Yeah, brilliant. Copperhead's looking good. Definitely want a pre-order for me. Next, it was the mainline classic look Bazooka with the red jersey and the navy blue number 14 and the white trimming on it. It looks great. I have the Tiger Force Bazooka. I'm probably going to skip this one. I think the Tiger Force Bazooka, I'm not generally one for repeating characters, and I liked the different vibe about the shirt and the tiger stripe pants and stuff. That appealed to me. But there were some lovely touches that made me go, oh man, missing out on this one. What I particularly liked was some of the painted decals on the missiles. So there was like a smiley face and a little kind of yellow nuke hazard thing, and I thought, oh, that's a nice little touch, just to sort of separate it even a bit further from the Tiger Force one. So I like the missiles, but not enough to convince me to go in and buy a second of the same character. I know, however, there's a lot of people who would have skipped the Tiger Force one because they are, they want hardcore, mainline, original-looking G.I. Joe classifieds. They want the modern reinterpretation of their old favourites from when they were kids, and this, I think, is, spot on. Looks great for those. I'm just not one for repeating figures. So, no criticisms, just, I've got a budget, man. Jesus. If you see the digital renders, and then the size of the list of stuff that's coming, got to be sensible about it. Then, next figure in hand was Torpedo, and this is another example where the character looks great. Everything about what they've done here, the sculpt, the paint applications, the accessory selection, the colour schemes, all that stuff looks awesome. I've got no criticism of the figure at all. And I know from seeing some chatter around and about in the community this last day or so since the stream took place, that there are folks who are like, yeah, I'm going to army build the shit out of this guy. I'm going to get several, keep his mask down, I don't know, recreate that James Bond scene. I don't know, whatever. But I've got to say, Torpedo just doesn't appeal to me at all. Just does not appeal to me at all. I didn't own one as a kid, and I'm just not sure all that scuba gear, that look would just fit right in the type of figure display that I've got going on. And I think, Shipwreck is about as nautical as I'm willing to go. But there's nothing wrong with the figure. Nothing wrong with the figure at all. Looks great. I think I'm going to skip it because it's just not my bag, man. Just not my bag. Speaking of going nautical with Shipwreck, he was the next in-hand reveal. Another great-looking figure. I am going to go in on this guy, mostly because he appeared significantly in storylines that I do remember. And then years later, when I did catch up with the cartoon, he seems to be the central figure in a number of the ones I've seen. I've never actually watched it beginning to end in order, but he seems to be a pretty significant character. Got the parrot Polly, and that seems all right. I mean, it's not quite we're not talking sort of Spirit or Timber sort of standards here. It's just a pretty single piece parrot on his shoulder. Okay, that's fine. But the one thing that really stood out to me, I never really noticed it on the digital renders, but I definitely noticed it when the promo photos of the figure, is the texture and detail in the kind of wear on the thighs of his jeans. That just blew me away. I was like, yes, I love it when there's these textural touches that give the character some real depth and some life, that tells a bit of a story. And yeah, at that point I was so excited that I said, yeah, all right, I'm going to do Shipwreck. That's about as far into the oceany stuff I think I'm willing to go, These swampy guys like Copperhead and Cropmaster and what have you, and the Dreadnoks, yes, but your oceany stuff just doesn't sit right with me, I don't know why. I'm just not into it. Next up, arguably my high point of the stream, and we were already pretty high up there for me. They showed an in-hand rock and roller, and I am in love with this figure. Loads to like here. Once again, the digital render was a good solid representation of what we were going to be seeing, but in the three-dimensional, in-hand, here's the plastic showing and telling that Lenny was doing, I was like, yes, I need this guy. Really into the swappable hands, especially with the old rock hand gesture. The helmet looks awesome, looks really great, and all those kind of personalized touches, the tattoos down his arms and on his hands, his marker pen, some messages on his helmet and stuff. Oh, yeah, amazing. Looks really, really awesome. It looks like the detail sculpts are great, the gun belts and his wristbands and all that kind of stuff, and the hair and the beard looks awesome as well, which I would imagine it would, because we know they do hair and beard of that nature very well from Outback. But yeah, Rock and Roller was the high point. I was like, yes, 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 this guy looks outstanding. I am totally on board. Hang 10, brother. Hang 10. It didn't stop there, though. Jeez, I mean, that would have been enough. Let's call it out for what it is. That would have been enough, but they were not stopping there. And next up was another great reveal with the scrap iron and drone. This thing looked amazing. It looked great. Again, the digital render was a really solid representation of what this final in-hand version was going to look like, but we got so much more from this reveal. The first thing that I fell in love with was when they were showing the promo shots with the helmet off. The head sculpt looks amazing. He's got this kind of, he's had an accident, a bit of misadventure with one of his missiles, and he had this scorch mark down the side of his face and his sort of mohawky thing going on. Looked brilliant. Drone looks awesome. I'm less into the blast effects. I'm not sure, something about those didn't tickle me so much. I can see that I will be taking photos using them and have some stuff going on. It's not a complete miss, but there was something about them I was like, I don't know, it's just not a thing I tend to find myself using a great deal. But in terms of added value, what we can't fault is how much stuff they're chucking in. Got his little remote control tablet thing for the drone, he's got a pistol, his helmet looks great. Everything about this guy was awesome. And one nice little touch is they showed that the rocket firing effects from the drone's rockets could be repurposed and used on Bazooka's Bazooka, which I thought was nice. Yeah, I like that they thought that through. That was a nice little touch that sat well with me, and I was really pleased to see that. So this was definitely a pre-order for me, because I was a bit like that about it when I saw the digital renders originally. I mean, it looked great, don't get me wrong. I was just like, oh, I've got a budget. I'm not budgeting. Anyone need a liver as well? You know what I mean? Because that head sculpt, oh, brilliant. Just tells a story. Love it. Oh, the scorch marks down the side of his face, brilliant. Next up was the Army Builder Cobra Valkyrie 2-pack. These, well, frankly, I'm conflicted about these. I've got an issue that's affecting my whole perception of this 2-pack, because the sculpt looks awesome. I'm loving the sculpt, the head swaps, the helmet swaps, all that stuff. I love the value. They are packed to the brim with guns and knives and pistols and submachine guns and stuff. That all looks amazing. I just don't like the khaki stuff, the khaki webbing and the khaki version of the weapons. So the one that's got all the black gear looks, yeah, spot on, absolutely. But something, I don't know if it's just my eyesight or whatever, but I just do not think the blue and khaki looks all that good. I just don't like it, and I really don't like the khaki guns. That just looks plasticky and horrible. That's like beachhead green plastic stuff again, and I thought we'd move past that. I'm not into that at all. So even though there's lots of ticks in the boxes, and I really want these figures because I like the figures, or certainly the one with all the the black trimmings and gear and the black backpack and the black weapons, I can't justify buying a 2-pack when I'm fairly certain one of the two I'm going to use in a much more limited capacity than the other. So I'm probably not going to go in on it, which is disappointing because, like I say, I really love the head sculpt. The one with the gas mask and the visor looks menacing and mean as awesome. But yeah, I don't like the khaki weapons that look really plastic. Yeah, I don't know what else to say there. I think others are more accepting of it than I, but I just think it clashes, just does not look right at all. And then finally, on the in-hand reveals that were going to be available for pre-order yesterday, we had Snowjob, another highly anticipated figure, another one that really got folks' juices flowing when the digital render was revealed late last year. So yeah, really pleased and glad to see this one. I've gone in on this one. Yeah, this is definitely a pre-order that I've gone in on because I think it's got just a really great vibe. And again, he was just one of those characters that I remember vividly appearing in a number of the comic book storylines that I remember reading as a kid. I like all the added value in there. I mean, the backpack, the skis, the ice snow boots, the ski stick things, what are they called? Don't even know. Not a skier. The head swaps, the goggles, the sniper rifle, all tons of stuff just thrown in. Looks great. I like the brown gear on top of the white uniform. I think that's a nice little touch. It's certainly one of the more idiosyncratic Joes to add to that side of the display. So yeah, definitely on board with that. So yeah, all positive as far as I'm concerned with Snowjob. I don't know what else. I'm looking at. I'm having a quick peek at a picture here as I'm talking, and yeah, love it absolutely. A hood up, hood down, loads going on there. Looks really great. He is a character I remember from the comic books. Tick, 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 tick. All ticks in the box. Pre-order made. Okay, last thing on the list now, and then I stop all banging on. I'm already getting people whinging at me in the comments saying my videos are too long. Anyway, so I'll try and wrap this up quick. One of the other things they did is they took a moment to talk about the pricing scheme for the G.I. Joe Classified series. Mainline figure, core figure, $24.99. A deluxe figure, so a standard figure but with some extra bits and bobs, $34.99. If they can't get it in at the $24.99 price point, they'll go up to $34.99. What they described as the figure and pet, which also appears to include drones and robots, because the scrap iron and missile drone is in this price point, is $44.99. And then finally the 2-packs they put in at $54.99. And while nobody, including me, is pleased that we're sort of seeing this price creep, there's not a huge price creep, but there's definitely a price creep there as it gradually just kind of creeps up and up and up and up. What I did appreciate was the transparency and the straight talk about it. From someone who picks up Marvel Legends and the odd bit of Black Series here and there, where the prices just seem to be plucked out of their arses, just whatever they feel like at the time, with no particular consistency either. Like, oh, this is a deluxe figure, but it's got less than a mainline figure in terms of added value accessories and looks shitter as well. You know what I mean? No consistency around it. So while I'm not happy about the prices creeping up, and it's going to be painful ongoing to keep up, especially if they continue to creep up like this, what I did appreciate and thought was a good sign, and I thank the G.I. Joe Classified series team for this, was just the straight talk about it. Right, here's the story. This is what it is. These figures are this much. These figures are this much. These figures are this much. These are the figures are this much. What you'll get in there is this, 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 and this, and that's the framework. That's what it looks like. Here's our justification, whether you like it or not. Simple as that. That's what it is. And while I don't like it necessarily, I don't like the fact that snow jobs at 35 quid. I did appreciate, you don't have to like what you're hearing, do you? As long as you understand it and it's straight and you know where you're at with it. And I think that's a positive sign for the line. So the price framework, but I like the fact that they didn't, it was just like, boom, no sugar in the pill. This is the script. Well, hey, there we go then, folks. That was it. I'm sure there was tons more information crammed into that stream that I've not even covered, but this wasn't, like a news report rehashing the stream. This was my review of what we saw in the stream. So I hope you found my sharing of my thoughts interesting. I'd be interested to know where you are at. So please head on down to the comments below. Let me know, what caught your eye. What have you got excited about? What pre-orders did you go for? Which ones did you skip? I mentioned right at the top, early on in the video, that was one disappointment for me overall from the experience. And that was no in-hand Big Ben. I really wanted Big Ben. I'm a UK guy. I want the British Joe. You know what I mean? I'm chomping at the bit for the British Joe. The digital render got me really, really excited. There was lots to like about what I saw there, and I was really hoping and praying I was going to see a Big Ben, and I didn't. Maybe they're holding on. Maybe they're going to release it for King Charlie's coronation or something. Who knows? Little promotional extra. Here you go, UK folks. Here's Big Ben early for King Charlie's coronation. That's never going to happen, but there you go. So yeah, that was my only disappointment. And as far as things to be disappointed about goes, that's a pretty solid stream. So yeah, awesome, top notch. Thank you very much. If you're one of those people who made it this far through this video, I love you and appreciate you. I tell you what, let's do one of those cheesy YouTubey things with a code word. Drop into the comments down below and let me know what combination of Hawaiian shirt should the Chuckles figure have. He's on the name only reveal list. He's on his way. So what colour combination should his shirt be? And do you have any preference with regards to the pattern? There you go. That'll tell me. Then I'll know if you watched all the way to the end. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts, and I'll see you later.